Hey everyone, Token Dave over here. Dorky Token Black Guy who's just trying to get by. Let's be honest, movies that come out in January have a record of sucking. You know, I normally don't go out to a movie in January unless I have a lot of discretionary money available, and if a movie's premise really grabs me. But all I can say is in the past 15 years, there's only been two movies that I really enjoyed that came out in January. The first is, well, the latest was Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit, which I reviewed earlier in this channel. And the other is the topic of this review, 2008's Cloverfield. Rob Hawkins is a New York City resident who has just accepted a transfer to Japan in order to advance his career. In order to celebrate his achievements, his friends have decided to throw him a surprise going-away party. The party, however, is interrupted by a giant monster attacking New York City that very night. And in the initial attack, Rob's ex-girlfriend is trapped somewhere in Midtown Manhattan, causing Rob and his friends to go on a rescue mission to save his ex in the midst of the battle between the military and the giant monster. I remember walking out of this movie and hearing two contrasting views. People say that it was bad because it's a handheld movie, and another group of people said it reminds them way too much of, September 11th. And I walked out feeling both of these things. It was a found footage movie, and it resembled 9/11 a little too much, but those were the reasons why I really enjoyed the movie. So I thought I was in the minority until I went home and looked at MySpace. Yes, this is MySpace. This is the late 2000s, y'all. All right? And found out that this movie had a lot of people really enjoying it. But, before I go in any further, I must state this for the record. This movie hits pretty close to home because of the 9/11 parallels. The second college that I went to was basically right near the World Trade Center, and I was supposed to be at that college that day, and I just got drunk the night before, and I didn't go to school. And to top it off, Mama Hawkins was nearby because she worked in Lower Manhattan at that time, and she actually got the last train that left Manhattan into the Bronx. So, yeah, this movie hits pretty close to home. But besides those two caveats, this is actually a well-made movie. People were turned off about handheld or found footage movies because of the sour taste that Blair Witch Project had on people's mouths. And while I enjoyed Blair Witch, a lot of people hated it. But like Cloverfield, Blair Witch also has a cult following, and it's, seen as a good movie more so nowadays. And also, the parallels of 9/11, it was done effectively well given the situation. And not only that, but this movie did something a little interesting. It actually had the feel of a kaiju movie or a tokusatsu movie, hence a Japanese giant monster movie. In fact, this movie felt so much like Godzilla, I thought that it was just a coincidence. But apparently not, because thanks to YouTuber, a channel called Up From the Depths, was able to explain that, this movie was inspired by Godzilla, and J.J. Abrams wanted to make a giant monster movie for America in the vein of Godzilla. So, yeah, and there are a lot of parallels because, this monster is actually defeating and winning against the military, which, most American giant monster movies, the military or scientists find a way to easily defeat the monster, but, it's like the monster's winning on all ends, and the movie feels very apocalyptic and hopeless, which, a good kaiju movie does. It has those themes throughout the movie. But one thing that this movie does a little bit better than some of the other other kaiju movies is that the cast and the characters are really good and they help keep the movie going. I already mentioned Rob, the lead character. He's your standard, white collar worker that can, everyday guy that could be a little bit of a douche here and there, but he has great intentions. You have his love interest, Beth, and you have this, romance squabble and a little bit of a triangle, that we see early in the movie. You have Jason, Rob's brother, who is the level-headed person of the group, as well as his girlfriend, Lily, who is level-headed too, but a little more fiery. And you have Rob's best friend, Hud, who is the cameraman, who is pretty much the douchey best friend. And Marlene, or Marlena, my fault. I keep forgetting her name, pronounce the name correctly. Marlena, who is basically the outsider of the inner circle, who has the least character development, but is actually very engaging. So another thing that this movie does fairly well is, you don't get an overexposure of the monster. You see the monster in glimpses here and there, but you don't get a clear look at it. Nowadays we could see what it looks like clearly, but, at the time, you couldn't tell. Even when you got the DVD, you keep rewinding, you keep pausing to see if you can see it clearly, and you kind of can't. Even at that one scene towards the end where you're looking straight at the monster, but you still can't fully see how clear it is. That's something that I really enjoyed about Godzilla movies, the original movie, and even the 2014 one, which people complain Godzilla's not in the movie enough. He's in the movie well enough, and you felt his presence, just like the Cloverfield monster in this movie. While it is found footage, it's not grainy and shaky cam and unclear like, Blair Witch Project or previous other found footage movies. The cinematography is done very well, while I think this battery on this camera runs a little too long. Nah. Another thing is the people were very smart in this movie. They made some smart decisions by saying, hey, listen, we don't know what it is. It's here. We have to leave. And they're in downtown Manhattan, mind you. They're close to the Brooklyn Bridge or the Holland Tunnel. And they immediately go to the Brooklyn Bridge. But then when that doesn't work, someone suggests, why don't we go through the tunnel? Great smart thinking. What are the problems with this movie? Well, I have a few nitpicks. Mostly they're logistical, like, as a New York City native, some things don't make sense, like, the monster tossing the Statue of Liberty head from where you see it from the Empire State Building area. The Spring Street train station they go into doesn't look like any of the other Spring Street train stations, but that's here and there. I also have to say that this movie was fairly quick, which, it moves quick, but it is quick. It's only an hour and 20 minutes. So, yeah. But those are nitpicks. What we got here is an entertaining monster movie that you can actually feel yourself in the situation, engaging characters, great special effects, great cinematography, and an awesome ending theme, Roar, in the credits, which is very much inspired by Akira Ifukube's Godzilla March. Cloverfield is slamming. Agree? Disagree? Please drop me a comment below, give me a like, follow me on Facebook at Token Dave or on Twitter at Token Dave 80, as well as Instagram. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this is Token Dave, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. Catch all of y'all later.